everyone. Emily Jashinsky, culture editor, here with Tristan Justice, our staff writer. Tristan, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, we want to talk about something I think actually was hilarious that happened in the White House briefing room today. Richard Grenell gets up there and just starts laying into the press corps. Tristan just reported about this. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so moments ago, the former director of Department of National Intelligence got up at the White House press briefing, and he started to relay information to reporters, critical information, by the way, on a new peace deal between Kosovo and Israel and Serbia and Israel. For the first time, Emily, for the first time in years, two more nations are opening up diplomatic ties with Israel, opening embassies in Jerusalem.
Yes.
Which anyone who is remotely aware of international affairs and the history behind Israel knows this is a big deal. Mm-hmm. He started giving out this information, but reporters started asking questions off topic, which is becoming a routine practice of these White House press briefings where reporters typically just use the time to grandstand. So when Grenell began to be asked a question that was off topic, he started just saying what needed to be said, and he started to lecture the reporters on their questions and how everything, the reporters have been asking the same questions again and again and again for the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
That's all about politics, that's all about Beltway gossip, and has nothing to do with complex issues that the American people care about.
He basically was like, you people have no idea what's happening in the rest of the world. You are too young to understand the historical significance of some of these events. He was talking specifically about what happened, what he was there to actually speak on. And it was this really, he was commanding and authoritative in a way that I think probably shook some of the reporters in the room. One of them, I believe, retorted something along the lines of, "We didn't come here to get lectured about our questions."
They were clearly uncomfortable. I mean, they were clearly uncomfortable. He said, "We didn't come here to be lectured on our questions," but they needed a lecture on their questions.
They always need lectures on their questions. Well, yeah, and so in Grenell, watch the clip. It's really interesting. But Grenell doing this, I think, it's a moment that we should all kind of bookmark in our heads, because we think of a lot of things as like hallmarks of the Trump era, but this actual energetic, I think, anger towards the media that Republican politicians, they would sort of have outbursts here or there. This is becoming a staple of Republican politics. And you know what? It should become a staple of Republican politics, because these people deserve it and are sowing a lot of distrust in our institutions. They're misinforming readers. They are, helping a lot of they're absolutely cultivating or creating some of the divisiveness in this country, or contributing to some of the divisiveness in this country. And Grenell just absolutely laying into them was a sight to behold.
Yeah, and he told the reporters in that room right out. He said, I think he said, use the word astounded. He is astonished at what happens in that press briefing room every single day for the past years, especially in the last 4 years, mm-hmm. when Trump gets up on the podium. Just watch a coronavirus press briefing. But he said it outright. He said, the people outside of this city are not listening to you.
Yeah.
And it is a crisis for journalism. And if anyone actually cared about journalism and an honest media, they would heed his advice and heed his words, because it's the truth. And we saw this really come into play in 2016, for the first time, when all these Beltway reporters who spent their entire lives on one coast or the other, mm-hmm. granted there's a bunch of exceptions, but who either, if they didn't grow up here, they spend most of their time here because they live here, and then they kind of assimilate to this coastal type culture. They get out of touch.
Yeah.
And that's why very few of them predicted that Trump even had a shot of winning in 2016. So, I mean, I don't think the country's ever going to forget the New York Times meter showing Trump with 97% chance of losing.
Yeah.
All night, just is a slow pendulum.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I thought, I'm not a fan of grandstanding, and I'm sure the same goes for you and for everybody else outside of Washington, D.C. I mean, I have a very strong distaste for watching anybody, government officials, candidates, whoever they are, get up behind the podium and use something that's red meat to their base to sort of grandstand without any substantiating content. Or substantive content, I should say. But that's not what Grinnell did, and that's what I think was particularly great about this rant, and it deserves to be called a rant. It was a good rant. Is actually like tied to something super specific, which is that he got this question that was off topic when he was there to talk about something really important, and he actually made a really specific media criticism. It wasn't just, fake news. It was, listen, half of you guys are probably too young to understand the historical significance of this. Mm-hmm. This happens all of the time, and you have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world. And I thought that was what made this particular rant against the media, this Trump administration rant against the media, actually effective.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And he made a really good point about the generational divide, even in the press in the briefing room today, because we do see most of the grandstanding is coming from younger reporters. Mm-hmm. Not all. Jim Acosta is not necessarily like a 20-year-old, but we do see most.
He
of
may have the maturity of a 20-year-old.
He definitely has the maturity of a middle schooler. But no, Grinnell made a really good point talking about the generational divide, and what made it even so much more effective, like you said, is that this is not the president just saying fake news.
Yeah,
this is Grinnell responding to a question and making his point then.
Yeah.
And I thought that was something that Grinnell did that was particularly useful in this instance.
Right. Well, Tristan, thanks so much for helping us recap this.
Thanks for having me.
Great.